The scent of lavender drifts through our living room like a ghost, and for a moment I forget how to breathe. Mom's been dead for 3 years, but her perfume lingers in unexpected places, as if she's trying to warn me about something. I'm Gracie, and I've learned that memories have a way of ambushing you when you least expect them. We have wonderful news, Dad says, his hand wrapped around Karen's waist. They're standing in front of the fireplace where Mom's photos used to be, before Karen replaced them with abstract art that looks like someone sneezed paint onto canvas. Karen's smile stretches wide, too wide, like a rubber band about to snap. We're having a baby! The lavender scent grows stronger, and I dig my fingernails into my palms. Dad's watching me with that pleading look he's perfected since bringing Karen home. The one that begs me to be happy for him, to play along with this perfect family fantasy he's constructed. That's great, I manage, the words tasting like copper in my mouth. Really great. Oh, sweetheart. Karen moves toward me, arms outstretched. I step back, pretending to adjust my shirt. She drops her arms, but that plastic smile doesn't falter. You're going to be such a wonderful big sister. Dad clears his throat. There's more, Grace. Karen and I have been talking about the future, about making sure both our children have the best opportunities. Something in his tone makes my stomach clench. The way he says both our children, like he's already divided his life into before and after, with me stranded somewhere in the middle. What do you mean? I ask, though part of me already knows. Karen steps forward, her voice honey-sweet. We've been looking at private schools, the best ones. For the baby's future, of course, but we want to make sure you're taken care of, too. Taken care of? The words come out sharper than I intended. We might need to reorganize some finances, Dad says, not quite meeting my eyes. Your college fund. Mom's college fund. I correct him. The one she started when I was born. Yes, well. He shifts uncomfortably. Sometimes plans need to change, Grace, for the good of the family. The good of the family. As if this manufactured version of happiness Karen's orchestrating has anything to do with family. As if Mom's wishes, her plans, her memory can just be erased like those photographs. I need some air, I say, already moving toward the door. Gracie, wait. Dad starts, but Karen puts a hand on his arm. Let her process, Robert. It's a lot to take in. I catch her reflection in the hallway mirror as I leave, that smile finally dropping, replaced by something calculated and cold. She thinks she's won, that she's successfully pushed me further into the margins of Dad's life. Outside, I pull out my phone and dial the one number I know will answer, no matter what. Grandma? My voice cracks. Can I come over? I need to talk to you and Grandpa. Of course, sweet girl. Grandma Margaret's voice is warm, steady. Your grandfather just made his famous apple pie. I start walking, letting muscle memory guide me down the familiar path to my grandparents' house. The scent of lavender follows me, and for the first time, I understand why. Mom isn't trying to warn me. She's reminding me that I'm not alone in this fight. Karen might think she's cleverly reshaping our family, carefully excising me from the picture like an unwanted detail in one of her precious artworks. But she doesn't know what I'm capable of. She doesn't know that behind my quiet acceptance, I'm already planning. After all, Mom taught me that sometimes the quietest people have the strongest voices, and I intend to make mine heard. Grandma Margaret's kitchen smells like cinnamon and truth. She sets a slice of apple pie in front of me while Grandpa Frank pours coffee into 3 mugs, his movements deliberate and measured, like he's buying time before the storm breaks. They're going to use my college fund for the baby, I say, stabbing my fork into the pie's flaky crust. Mom's college fund. Grandpa's coffee mug hits the table harder than necessary. Like hell they are. Frank, Grandma warns, but her eyes are steel. She reaches across the table, covering my hand with hers. Tell us everything, sweet girl. I do. The words pour out like a dam breaking. Karen's calculated kindness, Dad's growing distance. The way they've started planning a future that seems to have less and less room for me. When I finish, silence fills the kitchen, broken only by the steady tick of the grandfather clock in the hall. Your mother. Grandpa says finally. Worked 2 jobs to start that fund. I remember. The memory hits sharp and clear. Mom coming home late, exhausted but smiling, always making time to help with homework or read a bedtime story. There's something else you should know. Grandma exchanges a look with Grandpa. Karen's done this before. My fork freezes halfway to my mouth. What do you mean? She was married before, Grandpa says. To a widower with 2 teenage sons. The marriage lasted just long enough for her to secure a significant portion of their inheritance. The pie turns to ash in my mouth. Does Dad know? We tried to tell him, Grandma says softly, but you know how love can blind people. The front door chimes and Dad's voice carries through the house. Mom? Dad? Is Gracie here? Perfect timing, Grandpa mutters, standing up. I've got a few things to say to our Robert. But before he can move, Karen's voice joins Dad's. We're so worried about her. My stomach twists. Of course she came. She never misses an opportunity to play the concerned stepmother. In here, Grandma calls, squeezing my hand before letting go. They enter the kitchen, Karen's designer boots clicking against the tile. She's wearing her concerned face, the one that never quite reaches her eyes. Gracie, sweetheart, you shouldn't have run off like that. We weren't finished discussing the changes. Changes? Grandpa's voice could freeze hell. Is that what you're calling it? Dad, my father starts, but Karen steps forward. We only want what's best for both girls, she says smoothly. Gracie's so bright, she'll have no trouble getting scholarships. And this way, both children can benefit from the family's resources. Both children, Grandma repeats. Interesting choice of words. Karen's smile tightens. I consider Gracie my own. Like you considered Thomas and James your own? Grandpa asks. The kitchen temperature drops 10 degrees. Karen's face goes blank for a split second before recovering. I'm sorry. Your previous stepsons, Grandma clarifies, before their inheritance disappeared. Dad looks between them, confusion creasing his forehead. What are you talking about? Nothing, Karen says quickly. Ancient history. Robert, we should go. Gracie, come home when you're ready to discuss this rationally. But I'm watching Dad's face, seeing the first crack in his perfect family facade. No, I say. I want to hear about Thomas and James. So do I, Dad says quietly. Karen's mask slips just enough for me to catch a glimpse of something cold and calculating underneath. She recovers quickly, touching Dad's arm. Robert, they're trying to turn her against us. Against our family. Our family. I repeat, standing up. Is that what you call it when you systematically erase someone's mother from their life? Gracie, Dad warns, but I'm done being quiet. No, Dad. Look around. Where are Mom's photos, her books, her memory? Karen's been erasing her piece by piece, and you've been letting her. Karen steps toward me, hand outstretched. You're upset. I understand. Don't touch me. The words come out like ice shards. And don't pretend you understand anything about me. I turn to my grandparents. Can I stay here tonight? Of course, they say in unison. Dad opens his mouth to protest, but something in my expression stops him. He looks lost, standing in his parents' kitchen, caught between his past and the future Karen's designed for him. We'll talk tomorrow, he says finally. As they leave, I catch Karen's reflection in the window. She's not smiling anymore, and for the first time, I see fear in her eyes. Good. She should be afraid, because now I know what she is, and I'm not going to let her do to me what she did to Thomas and James. The game has changed, and so have the rules. 3 days at my grandparents' house, and Karen's already redecorating my room. I watch from the driveway as she directs 2 workers carrying out my oak bookshelf, the one Mom and I painted together when I was 10. It's going to be the baby's room now, Lily announces, appearing beside me with an ice cream cone. Mommy says we need the space. My hands curl into fists. That's my room. Not anymore. Lily licks her ice cream, chocolate smearing across her chin. Mommy says you're probably going to stay with Grandma and Grandpa anyway. The words hit like a slap. I push past her into the house, following the sound of Karen's voice to my former sanctuary. She's standing in the middle of the room, gesturing at the walls with manicured hands. "The wallpaper needs to go," she's saying. "Something gender neutral, I think. And that window seat? That stays." My voice comes out stronger than I expected. Karen turns, her surprise quickly masked by a sympathetic smile. "Gracie, darling, I thought you were still at your grandparents'?" Clearly. I step into the room, my room, taking in the boxes piled in the corner. "Where are my things?" "In the garage, carefully packed." She dismisses the workers with a wave. "We need to talk about arrangements, sweetheart. Your father and I think—" "Where is Dad?" "At work, of course. He trusts me to handle these domestic matters. I bet he does." I move to the window seat, running my hand along the worn cushion where Mom used to sit and read to me. "You can't just pack up my life without asking." "Don't be dramatic." Karen's voice hardens slightly. "You haven't been home in days. Actions have consequences, Gracie." "Like stealing from your stepchildren?" Her smile freezes. "I don't know what stories your grandparents have been telling you." "Thomas and James Morrison," I say, pulling out my phone. "Your former stepsons. I found their social media accounts. Interesting how they both had to drop out of college right after their father died." Karen's mask slips completely. "You've been investigating me?" "Someone had to." I scroll through my phone. They were happy to talk about their former stepmother. Very happy. "Whatever they told you is probably true?" I finish. "Like how you convinced their father to revise his will? How you managed to get power of attorney just before his accident?" Karen moves faster than I expected, snatching my phone. "You're just a child playing detective. You have no idea what you're talking about." "I have copies," I say calmly, "of everything, including the documents Grandpa's lawyer found about the Morrison estate." For the first time, real fear flickers in Karen's eyes. "What do you want?" "My college fund stays untouched. My room stays my room. And you start treating me like I exist." She laughs, but it's shaky. "Or what? You'll show these documents to your father? He'll never believe you over me." "Maybe not." I reach for my phone, but she holds it away. "But the police might be interested. Fraud leaves a long paper trail." "You wouldn't dare." "Try me." I meet her gaze steadily. "I'm not Thomas or James. I'm not going to disappear quietly." The front door opens and Dad's voice calls out, "Karen, why is Gracie's bookshelf in the garage?" Karen's face contorts for a moment before smoothing into its usual pleasant mask. She hands me back my phone. "This conversation isn't over." "No," I agree. "It's just beginning." She turns to leave but pauses at the door. "You're more like your mother than I thought. She was a fighter too." "I know." I sit on my window seat, claiming my territory. "And like her, I don't give up what's mine. After she's gone, I text Grandpa." Phase 1 complete. She took the bait. His response comes quickly. "Be careful, kiddo. People are most dangerous when they're cornered." I look around my partially dismantled room at the ghost of my old life Karen tried to pack away. She thought she could erase me like she erased Mom's memory, like she erased Thomas and James. But she made one crucial mistake. She underestimated how much of my mother lives in me. And Mom? Mom never lost a fight. The manila envelope sits heavy in my backpack as I walk into Dad's office building. Karen thinks she's the only one who can dig up secrets, but Grandpa's lawyer found something even she doesn't know about. "Can I help you?" The receptionist smiles, probably wondering why a teenager is here during school hours. "I'm here to see Robert Mitchell. I'm his daughter." Her smile falters. "Oh, Mrs. Mitchell called earlier. She said you might try to—" "Did she?" I pull out my phone, finger hovering over the contact labeled Thomas Morrison. Maybe we should call her then. I'm sure she'd love to explain why she's blocking me from seeing my own father. The receptionist hesitates, then reaches for her phone. Minutes later, Dad appears in the lobby, looking tired and confused. "Gracie? What are you doing here? We need to talk. I gesture to the envelope in my hands. Alone. He leads me to his office, closing the door behind us. The space feels different now. Colder, with photos of Karen and Lily prominently displayed on his desk. Mom's picture is nowhere to be seen. Karen says you've been making accusations. He starts. Not accusations, facts. I pull out the documents, spreading them across his desk. Did you know about Karen's first marriage? About how her husband died? That's ancient history. 2 months before his death, he changed his will. Everything went to Karen, leaving his sons nothing. I tap the death certificate. Single car accident, no witnesses. Sound familiar? Dad's face pales. What are you implying? I'm not implying anything. I'm showing you who you married. I pull out another document. This is from last week. Karen's been meeting with your financial advisor. She's trying to get power of attorney over your accounts. She's pregnant, Gracie. We're planning for the future. Like she planned for her future with Richard Morrison? The words come out sharp. Before his convenient accident? Dad sits heavily in his chair. You sound paranoid. Do I? I pull out my phone, playing the recording I made yesterday. Karen's voice fills the office. Once the baby comes, Robert will sign anything I put in front of him. The girls' trust fund is just the beginning. Dad's face changes, something breaking behind his eyes. Where did you get this? She was on the phone in my room, what used to be my room. She didn't know I was there. He reaches for the documents with shaking hands, but before he can read them, his office door opens. Karen stands there, one hand on her slightly swollen belly. Robert, dear, I've been trying to call you. Her eyes lock onto the papers. What's this? Evidence, I say, standing. Of everything. Karen's mask slips for just a moment, revealing something dark and dangerous underneath. Robert, surely you're not listening to these childish fantasies. They're not fantasies. I turn to Dad. Call Thomas Morrison yourself. Ask him about the night his father died. Ask him about the changed will, the power of attorney, the accident. That's enough. Karen's voice cracks like a whip. Robert, she's trying to destroy our family. She's jealous of the baby, of our happiness. Dad looks between us, lost. I need time to think. We don't have time, I say quietly. She's meeting the lawyer tomorrow to get power of attorney. Once that happens, I let the words hang there, heavy with implication. Karen moves toward Dad, reaching for him, but he flinches away. Something dangerous flashes in her eyes. Fine, she says, her voice cold. If that's how you want to play this, Gracie, remember? You're not the only one with evidence. She pulls out her phone. Should we discuss your mother's life insurance policy? The interesting timing of her death? The air leaves my lungs. What? Karen, Dad warns, but she continues. It would be tragic if someone started asking questions about that night, about who was the last person to see her alive. I stare at her, understanding dawning. She's been planning this move all along, waiting to use it. You wouldn't, Dad says. Karen's smile is razor sharp. Try me. I gather the documents with trembling hands, my carefully constructed plan crumbling. As I leave, I hear Dad calling after me, but I don't stop. Because now I understand. This isn't just about protecting my future anymore. It's about protecting Mom's memory from Karen's poisonous lies. And for that, I'll need a different kind of revenge. The box of Mom's old things sits untouched in my grandparents' attic, exactly where I left it 3 years ago. My hands shake as I lift the lid, searching for anything that might help me understand Karen's accusation about the life insurance policy. I thought I'd find you up here. Grandma Margaret's voice makes me jump. What are you looking for, sweet girl? The truth. I pull out Mom's diary, its pages worn and familiar. Karen said something about Mom's death, about the timing being suspicious. Grandma's face hardens. That woman will say anything to protect herself. But what if... My voice cracks. What if there's something I don't remember about that night? Before Grandma can answer, my phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. I have proof about your mother's final hours. Meet me at Riverside Park. Come alone. Don't, Grandma says, reading over my shoulder. It's probably Karen trying to trap you. Or someone who knows what really happened. I stand up, clutching Mom's diary. I have to know. Then I'm calling your grandfather. No. I touch her arm. If Karen's watching and sees anyone else, we'll never know the truth. The park is empty when I arrive, except for a figure sitting on a bench near the river. As I get closer, I recognize Thomas Morrison, Karen's former stepson. You're braver than I was, he says as I sit beside him. I ran when things got tough. What do you know about my mom? He pulls out a folder. Karen's been busy since my father died. She's got a pattern. Widowers with assets, complicated family situations, but your mother's case was different. What do you mean? Karen knew your father before your mother died. They worked at the same company. He hands me several photographs. These were taken 2 months before your mother's accident. The images show Karen and Dad together, looking far too comfortable for mere colleagues. My stomach turns. That doesn't prove anything, I say, but my voice wavers. No, but this might. He pulls out an email printout. Karen accessed your mother's medical records through a friend at the hospital. She knew about the heart condition before anyone else. The world tilts sideways. Mom died in a car accident, after her medication was switched. Thomas's voice is gentle. The new prescription had a warning about driving. Karen's friend prescribed it. My phone buzzes again. Dad calling. I ignore it. Why are you telling me this now? Because she's doing it again. Thomas shows me recent bank statements. Your father's company is in trouble. Karen's been moving money offshore, preparing for something. Just like with my father. A twig snaps behind us. We turn to see Karen standing there, one hand on her belly, the other holding her phone. I knew you'd try something like this, she says to Thomas. Still bitter about Daddy's money? Tell her the truth, Karen. Thomas stands. About what you did to her mother. Karen laughs, but there's an edge to it. You mean how her mother drove while medicated? That's hardly my fault. You switched her prescription, I say, the pieces falling into place. You knew she'd drive that night. Prove it. Karen's smile turns cruel. Your father's already signed the power of attorney papers. By tomorrow, everything will be in my name, including your trust fund. I'll tell him everything. He won't believe you. He didn't believe you about the Morrison case, did he? She steps closer. Face it, Gracie. You've lost. My phone buzzes again. This time a text from Grandpa. Don't react. Police are on their way. Keep her talking. Why? I ask Karen, standing my ground. Why go through all this? Because I deserve it. Her mask slips, revealing raw ambition. I wasn't born into privilege like you. I had to take what I wanted. By killing for it? By being smarter than everyone else. She glances at her watch. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a meeting with the bank. But as she turns to leave, police cars appear at both park entrances. Karen's face goes blank, then twists with rage. You're just like your mother, she spits, always thinking you're better than everyone else. No, I say, watching the officers approach. I'm just smarter. The diary in my bag suddenly feels heavier, like Mom's watching, finally seeing justice done. And for the first time since she died, I feel her presence without pain. The police station's fluorescent lights make everything look sickly and unreal. I sit across from Detective Martinez, watching her review the evidence we've gathered against Karen. My victory should feel complete, but all I can think about is Lily, crying as they led her mother away. Your father's here, Martinez says, glancing at the door. Dad looks like he's aged 10 years since this morning. His eyes are red, his shirt wrinkled. He stops when he sees me, as if unsure whether he has the right to approach. The company's gone, he says finally, his voice hollow. Karen emptied the accounts yesterday. Everything we had. Sit down, Mr. Mitchell. Martinez says. There's more you need to hear. I stand up. I should go. Stay. Dad's voice cracks. Please. Martinez spreads photographs across the table. Karen with Dad before Mom's death, prescription records, bank statements. Each piece of evidence hits Dad like a physical blow. We found this in her private email. Martinez continues, sliding over a printed message. It's from 3 years ago, discussing your wife's medication change with Dr. Helen Peters. Dad's hands shake as he reads. Helen was Karen's friend from college. She prescribed Sarah's heart medication, the one that caused drowsiness. I say quietly, the one Mom was taking the night of the accident. Dad looks up sharply. No, that's not possible. Karen wouldn't. She did. I pull out Mom's diary. Mom wrote about feeling strange after starting the new prescription, about Karen offering to help with her medication schedule. The silence that follows feels like drowning. Dad reaches for the diary but stops short, his hand trembling in midair. I let her into our lives. He whispers, I let her destroy everything Sarah built for you. A commotion outside interrupts us. Through the glass, I see Karen being led to another room, her lawyer beside her. She catches my eye and smiles, that same cold, calculating smile that always hid behind her mask of kindness. What happens now? I ask Martinez. We're building a case, but these things take time. And with her pregnancy, she'll find a way out, I realize. Just like she did with the Morrisons. Dad stands abruptly, pacing the small room. The house is mortgaged to the hilt, the college fund, our savings, it's all gone. I can't even protect you anymore, Gracie. I failed you, just like I failed your mother. Robert, Martinez says gently, there's something else. Karen's pregnancy. She slides another document across the table. Medical records. She's not pregnant, I read aloud. It was fake? A prosthetic belly. Martinez confirms. Everything was orchestrated. The timing, the sympathy it would generate, the urgency to get power of attorney for the baby's future. Dad makes a sound like he's being strangled. I want to comfort him, but 3 years of distance stretch between us like an ocean. Lily's asking for you, he says finally. She's with child services, but she keeps crying for her big sister. The words hit harder than any of Karen's manipulations. Lily, innocent, caught in the crossfire of her mother's schemes. I can't, I whisper. I'm the one who destroyed her family. No. Dad kneels beside my chair, looking me in the eye for the first time in years. Karen destroyed both our families, but maybe we can build something new from the ruins. How? My voice cracks. Everything's gone. Not everything. He touches Mom's diary. We have the truth now. And each other, if you'll let me try again. But before I can respond, Martinez's phone rings. Her expression darkens as she listens. Karen's gone, she says, hanging up. Somehow she slipped away during the transfer, and she left this. She hands me a note, Karen's elegant handwriting stark against the white paper. You think you've won, but I'm not finished. Ask Gracie about the locket. The one Sarah was wearing that night. The one that disappeared after the accident. My hand flies to my neck where Mom's locket used to hang. The one I lost the night she died. The one that could prove... What locket? Dad asks. I look at him, then at Martinez, understanding finally what Karen's known all along. There's one piece of evidence that could change everything, and only Karen knows where it is. We have to find her, I say, standing. Because if she has that locket, she has proof that I was there the night Mom died. The abandoned Morrison house looms against the darkening sky, its windows like hollow eyes watching our approach. Detective Martinez insisted on backup, but I convinced her that Karen would only talk to me. She's here, I say, spotting fresh tire tracks in the gravel. Dad grabs my arm. Let the police handle this. She has Mom's locket. I pull away. And the truth about that night. The front door creaks open at my touch. Inside, Dust sheets cover forgotten furniture like shrouds. A light flickers upstairs, drawing me toward the master bedroom where Richard Morrison died. Karen stands at the window, her fake pregnancy belly discarded on the floor. She's holding Mom's locket, its silver chain dangling between her fingers. "I wondered how long it would take you to figure it out," she says without turning. "You're clever, Gracie, just like your mother was." "Give me the locket." "Why? So you can destroy the evidence inside?" She finally faces me. "The photo of you arguing with Sarah that night? The one that shows you were the last person to see her alive?" My throat tightens. "You switched her medication. You made her drive that night." "I simply created an opportunity." Karen's smile is razor sharp. "You provided the motive." The angry teenage daughter fighting with her mother about her father's new relationship. "Nobody would blame you, of course. You were just a child." "That's not what happened." "No?" She steps closer. "Then why did you take the locket from her body? Why hide it all these years?" "I didn't." The memory hits like a thunderbolt. Mom touching the locket before driving away, our argument unfinished. But after that, nothing. "You blocked it out," Karen says softly. "Trauma does that. But the truth was always there, waiting." Footsteps on the stairs. Dad appearing in the doorway, his face ashen. "Karen, it's over. The police are outside." "It's never over." She holds up the locket. "Not while I have this. One call to the press about the grieving daughter who might have contributed to her mother's death. How long before they start questioning everything?" "Nobody will believe you," I say, but my voice shakes. People believe what they want to believe. She moves toward the window. "Especially about children who resent their parents' new relationships." "Stop." Dad steps forward. "I remember that night, Karen. I was on the phone with Sarah when she was driving. She told me Gracie was at her friend's house." The locket slips slightly in Karen's grasp. "You're lying. Check my phone records from that night. They're still on file with the police." Dad's voice hardens. "You didn't know about that call, did you? Too busy planning with Helen Peters to alter Sarah's medication." Karen's mask cracks. "You have no proof. Helen confessed an hour ago," I say, the words tasting like victory. "She told them everything." The locket drops from Karen's hand, hitting the floor with a metallic ping. As she lunges for it, I dive forward. We collide, both reaching for the necklace. Her nails rake my arm, but I grab the locket, rolling away. "It's over, Karen," Dad says as police burst through the door. Karen straightens, smoothing her hair. Even in defeat, she tries to maintain control. "You'll never be rid of me. I'll always be the shadow over your perfect family memories." "No," I say, clutching the locket. "You'll be nothing but a cautionary tale about greed and manipulation, and we'll be fine without you." As they lead her away, I finally open the locket. Inside isn't a photo of any argument. Just Mom and me at the beach, both smiling, both happy. The truth I'd feared was just another of Karen's lies. Dad touches my shoulder. "Let's go home." "Which home?" I ask. "Everything's gone." "Not everything." He looks at me, really looks at me for the first time in years. "We'll start over. Together this time." Outside, Lily waits in Grandma's car, her small face pressed against the window. My sister, not Karen's daughter, not a pawn, just a little girl who needs her family. The locket feels warm in my hand, like Mom's finally at peace. And maybe, just maybe, we can be too. Together, I agree, and mean it. The courtroom empties slowly after Karen's sentencing, but I stay seated, watching her being led away. She doesn't look back, and somehow that feels right. Some chapters need to end without closure. "Ready to go?" Dad asks, his hand hovering near my shoulder, still uncertain about touching me. "Almost." I open Mom's locket, now hanging around my neck where it belongs. The beach photo catches the light. Mom's smile forever frozen in silver. Outside, Lily waits with my grandparents, drawing pictures in a notebook. She looks up as we approach, her face brightening. Gracie, look, I drew our new house. The sketch shows Grandma and Grandpa's Victorian, with stick figures of all of us on the porch, even Dad, who's been staying in their guest room while we figure out what comes next. It's perfect, I tell her, and mean it. Grandpa clears his throat. Speaking of the house, there's something you should see. Back home. And it is home now. Grandpa leads us to Mom's old study. The room's been transformed, its walls freshly painted, new furniture arranged carefully. Your mother always wanted this to be your space, Grandma says. For studying, for dreaming, for becoming whoever you choose to be. On the desk sits a leather-bound book I've never seen before. Inside, Mom's handwriting fills the pages. Not her diary, but letters. Dozens of them addressed to me, dated through my teenage years she never got to see. Found it behind the bookshelf while cleaning, Grandpa says gruffly. Sarah was always thinking ahead. I open to a random page. My dearest Gracie, today you're 15, and I wish I could see the young woman you're becoming. The words blur. Dad makes a choked sound behind me. There's more, Grandma says softly. Sarah set up a separate trust account, one Karen never knew about. For college, just like she planned. I can't replace what was lost, Dad says, his voice rough. But I'm starting over, taking consulting work. It won't be much at first, but it's enough, I say, touching his arm. We're enough. Lily tugs at my sleeve. Can I read in here too? Mommy never let me have real books, just tablets. Of course. I pull her close, breathing in her strawberry shampoo scent. That's what sisters do. Later, after Lily's asleep and Dad's gone to his temporary room, I sit at Mom's desk, my desk now, and read another letter. My darling girl, remember that revenge is a poison that can consume you. Choose justice instead, and let love guide your path forward. Some people will try to rewrite your story, but you're the only one who gets to decide how it ends. A knock at the door. Dad, holding 2 mugs of hot chocolate like he used to when I was small. Your mother wrote those letters the year before she died, he says, setting a mug beside me. She knew somehow. Knew you'd need her words someday. Did you read them? No, they're yours. He hesitates. But if you ever want to share them. I slide one letter across the desk. Not forgiveness, not yet, but a beginning. Lily asked if she could call me sister at school tomorrow, I say as he reads. Not half-sister, just sister. Dad looks up, his eyes wet. And? I told her sisters look out for each other. Always. He nods, understanding what I'm not saying. That family isn't about blood or marriage certificates or legal documents. It's about choices, made day after day. The scent of lavender drifts through the window, but it doesn't hurt anymore. Mom's presence feels different now. Not a ghost haunting me, but a light guiding me forward. I open another letter, this one dated for graduation day. Inside, a small key falls out with a note. For when you're ready to write your own story. Dad touches the key gently. Whatever you decide, wherever you go, just let me be part of your story again. Please. I pick up the key, feeling its weight. Not just metal, but possibility. Through the window, I can see our reflections. Father and daughter, broken but healing, with Mom's letters between us like a bridge. I'm writing it already, I say, and open a blank page.